Hello, hello. I want to welcome you. It's like we're here with an episode of Your Pricing Matters. And when you think of taking some self care, what comes to mind? Maybe a spa day, a bubble bath, maybe a glass of wine at the end of the day. All of that is great. But for us business women, business people, it's like we've got to look a little deeper into what self care really means. And that's what we are going to do today. So I'm excited here to have my guest Pam Bradford. She's the cash coach Pam, and she and I are just going to have a great conversation. So we hope that you will enjoy. We are doing this live, so if you have questions, you can feel free to drop them in the comment section. We're actually using StreamYard, and there's a notice at the top that says if you want me to know who you are, what your name is, you can actually click that button and I'll be able to see. Otherwise, I won't. And so, either way, it's your choice. But we do look forward to you interacting with us. So, let's just jump right in. So, Pam, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, Mickey, first of all, I just want to say thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited. Just a little bit about me. I am a native of Raleigh, North Carolina. However, I have lived the last 30 years of my adult life in Durham because I love to say, the best HBCU in the whole entire world, North Carolina Central University. And Eagle Pride Amplify. And I just built my life and my career there. I met my husband in Durham. I really enjoy Durham. I really love it. But last year, I decided to move home just to kind of help out my mom a little bit. I'm so excited that we'll be celebrating her 80th birthday in November. And so, yeah, just moved back home to kind of help her out a little bit. Prior to being an entrepreneur, my career was in mental health. So I was in community mental health for over 30 years. I'm sorry, 20 years, and always dibbled and dabbled in business. My dad was an entrepreneur, business owner. And so the seed was planted very early, and just you knew that's what I wanted to end up doing. I thought it would be in mental health. But as it turned out, it ended up being in financial services. So yeah, I'm really excited. So I am a wife. I have one husband. Uh,
That's good.
right? I don't think I can handle more than one.
Okay.
And I have three amazing adult bonus children and a granddaughter who is 10 and affectionately known as Bug. And then I have a niece and a nephew that are my heartbeats 1 and 2. So, yep, that's just a little bit about me.
Awesome. Well, I'm so excited that you're here. It's like we actually met not that long ago through a mutual friend, through Kimberly Winborn, and she is has put together a really wonderful, I guess I don't know, community might be
Yes.
the best word.
Hmm.
So right now, it's like we are about to do a an event this coming Thursday at 6:30. So I'm excited about that, and it's a wife event, and wife is women in financial entrepreneurship.
Entrepreneurial and empowerment, I think the E is.
Okay, we've got about three different things that the E stands for, but if you have been a wife, if you are a wife, if you want to be a wife, if you don't want to be a wife, it'll be phenomenal because it's like we're going to just be focused on improving our finances, and our finances affect our family, whatever that family might look like. So we're excited to have that, and I was excited to meet you. That was what, a couple months ago, I guess.
July.
We did
We
the
had
brunch.
our first event, a brunch in July. Yeah, it was
Mhm.
exciting meeting you as well. We had talked, um, you know, on Zoom and preparation for the meeting. But in this Zoom era, it's always great when you meet people in person. So yeah, it was very exciting.
Yeah, absolutely, and we both happen to be tall, which is pretty cool too.
Very cool, right?
Yeah, so we had a little conversation, and we were talking about self-care and how that looks and how that can look, maybe should look. And we're kind of looking at, why money making isn't enough. That sometimes is like step one, goal one, I got to make some money. I got to pay the bills. I got to put my kids in school. I got to, take a vacation. I got to do X, Y, and Z. But a lot of times we just get in that rat race, but we don't really start to really look at, okay, I'm making money. What do I do now? So let's
Exactly.
talk a little bit about, what does self-care look like from your perspective?
And that's a great point, because I've always been somebody that took pride in my appearance. Like you said, we're both tall. You can't miss me. So that was something that I always took pride in. But I think as an entrepreneur, it goes beyond that. So after making money, and since being in financial services, you know, two of the main products that I offer are life insurance and investments. And so I did get into the industry after my father passed away. So my dad passed away in 2015.
Mm,
He was self-employed entrepreneur. When he passed, though, he didn't have life insurance.
mm,
And at the time, it was just like, wow, like we never really had that conversation. We never talked about it. My husband and I had been married 5 years, and we really hadn't talked about it. I think just like most people, you have it on your job. And so you don't really have that conversation outside of the benefits that you have on your job. And so, anyway, after that, I was introduced to this amazing woman, and I always give her credit, Cynthia Green. We call her Cash Money. She introduced me to this opportunity and the opportunity to get my license. And so, in doing so, one of my specialties, one of the areas that I often want to make sure that I touch is entrepreneurship, right? Because when you get in it, there's no really handbook um, to help us along the way. And so, like you mentioned, Kim has built this amazing community. And I think that's the first thing I would say is self care is you got to have a team, right?
mm,
And I think a lot of times we want to be independent and self employed. But as business owners, you really want to make sure you put yourself in position so that your business runs when you're not there.
mhm,
And when we think about the salon and beauty industry, wow, you guys are amazing. You ladies are amazing, and the guys too, but you ladies are amazing in that you stand on your feet for hours, you're away from your family, and you're always giving to your clients. And so when we talk about self care, the other side of that is when or if that time comes, who's going to take care of your family? And
mm,
so I think the importance of making sure our finances are in order. And somebody told me once that you need 4 people on your team. You need an insurance agent, you need a CPA, you need an attorney, and you do need a good person that makes sure that an image person that makes sure that you show up. So a stylist, if you will.
mhm,
And so I think self care is making sure our finances are in order. I teach people that life insurance is the foundation.
mm,
That's your foundation of being financially stable. Because if something happens to that income that you're working so hard to bring in, who's then going to take care of your family?
mm. Yeah, that's really key. Before we go further with that, because I really do want to dive into that, back us up a little bit and tell us a little bit about those 4 people on your team. I think that's really, something that's key. And like you said, we don't get a handbook when we go into business. And so tell us about those 4 people. I'm gonna
So,
jot them down.
life insurance, or an insurance agent, right? And also a CPA, and an attorney. I think I said an attorney, a
Mhm.
CPA, and an attorney. And then you have to have, in this case, I would call that person maybe someone that is on your team to help you with social media, your image person, your
Mhm.
stylist, right? You all do a great job in making sure our hair is good, right? But all of that is, you do have other things outside of the salon. I have things outside of the office that you need other people to help you put together.
Mhm.
If you have to be in an event, you don't always have time to figure out which outfit you're gonna wear or how you're gonna wear your hair or who's gonna do your makeup.
Right.
And so I think for women in business, those are 4 pillars that you have to have.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's so key because one of the things, like when I think of self care, kind of the opposite is us with our superwoman cape flying in the background,
Mhm.
trying to do it all, trying to figure it all out. And, I'd say sometimes, like just because it's figure outable does not mean that you should be trying to figure it out?
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
agree.
And so, taking off our cape
Mhm.
and getting some of this support, insurance, we're definitely going to talk about that. CPA, it's like I see that a lot of times with, what I do as a business coach, that people, like, don't have a CPA or don't have someone, a lot of times we don't have a bookkeeper, which is like okay, but
Mhm.
at least have someone knowledgeable to take care of the things at the end of the year. And hopefully, as you grow, to start advising you on, how you should be doing that.
Mhm.
And so, people look at the cost and it's like, oh, well, it's so expensive. It's like, but it's definitely less expensive to get those people,
Absolutely.
professionals. This is what they do all day. And, an attorney, critical at different points in your career to have someone that you can reach out to or have someone review documents and all of that good stuff. And then, I've been in beauty and fashion pretty much my whole life. And so definitely, and especially for women, it's like we can lose credibility if we don't have a certain image, and it's sad to say, but it's kind of still true. But and we don't have to overdo it or whatever, but it's like you say, having some people on your team that can kind of make sure that you're, looking current,
Yeah, absolutely.
looking professional, looking credible, in whatever profession that is, because it does vary from profession to profession. So I think those are all really key. But break down for us, like with the insurance, hearing about your dad, that's really, kind of heartbreaking, one, that you lost your dad. So I'm sorry to hear that. But what were some of the lessons and things that you try to share from that experience?
Well, the first thing I would say is for sure a team. When I look back over my dad's career, he did it by himself, everything, and he was a tough person, right? He
Mhm,
raised his girls to be tough and be business women. But I think, what I have learned in my business, and we have a team model,
mhm,
is that you need other people. Um, as Black women, I think we try to do it all. Like you said, we try to be superwoman. A lot of us are head of households, we're wives, we're running businesses. And, you know, that is what, one of the biggest lessons is making sure you have people around you that support you. I love the collab. I love, the sisterhood that Kim Winborn is helping us become, right? And not just us, but to the community as a whole. Um, and I'll get to the life insurance, but one of the other things that I have learned being a part of a team is that we call our team our mastermind alliance. So we start off every morning and we are together. We read a book. And the one thing that I know in studying successful people is that they read. And
mhm,
a lot of what we learn or a lot of the things that we go through, we could avoid if we, just read up on it. Right. And so I do want to just say self development and personal growth is so important. I can honestly say I'm not the Pam I was, certainly not 7 years ago when I started this business, but even last week, I think the idea that, you become a business person and you just stop. But I think the important thing is that we got to keep striving and growing
mhm,
and learning how to be successful. And you can really only do that by studying and reading about successful people.
mhm,
Um, with other thing, as I get into the life insurance, is that's just not a conversation. We just don't talk about money. I mean, I think we all talk about getting the bag, seeking the bag, finding the bag. But how do you secure the bag, right? How do you make sure that what you're building for yourself and your family in the event of a premature death or it's just God calls us home, how do we make sure that we're prepared in life? I mean, preparing our family for when we're not here.
mhm,
And that was the thing I learned about life insurance. My dad was an awesome man. I miss him every day.
Mhm.
And he taught us so many lessons, but that was the conversation we didn't have. We didn't talk about when you get the money, how do you make sure you secure the money? And so, for business people, there are two ways we can do that with our personal life insurance policy. And then something I know you want to talk about later is a key man policy.
Mhm.
And that's a policy that your business owns or in your business name, so that, that entity is, secure as well.
Yeah, yeah. So many things, that you just touched on, and looking at life insurance, like you say, kind of as a way to secure what we're, putting together, what we're spending all our time doing each and every single day.
Mhm.
Tell us more about, kind of I guess the mindsets. It seems like a lot of us, either hesitate to put things like that in order, especially, us of color, that we have, I don't know what kind of thoughts we have, but there's definitely a mindset around, I don't want to face it. I don't want to do these things. And, other communities often use these things as tools to be able to actually build better businesses while they're alive and secure their, assets, their business, their family, and what have you after they've passed on.
For
So what do
sure.
you see?
Well, I think it's a lot. First, the mindset is, we don't really think about it until that happens to us. And I can be a witness that, that was something I never thought about. I was 43 when my dad passed. It just wasn't something I thought about. And again, because we weren't having a conversation, when I got married, it we didn't have the conversation.
Mhm.
And I think the mindset is out of sight, out of mind, right? Until you actually experience it. And I think a lot of people that have gone through loss of a loved one, loss of a parent, and had to come out of pocket have a different view of how life insurance works, on positive and negative. And then I also do think people are afraid to talk about it. I don't kind of know where this like superstition thing comes from of, if I talk about it, it's gonna happen. Not so. That's not true, right? So that's a myth.
Mhm.
Um, and I think the mindset of we just need enough to be buried, and I think that comes from a place of scarcity.
Mhm.
That comes from a place of people having experienced loss, and did not have anything to bury their loved ones. So instead of saying we need to have life insurance to leave an inheritance for
Mhm.
4 generations, we're just saying, oh, we just need enough to bury you. And I think that has been what has been a staple in our community is, yeah, my mama told me I need life insurance, but oh yeah, I don't need 100,000, or oh no, I don't need 500,000, and certainly not a million. you
Right.
know, we're just limited. Oh yeah, I just need enough to put them in the ground. And then this last one, it just hurts my heart when I hear this, but people really don't feel like they want to leave their family anything. Oh,
Mhm.
my kids got to get it like I got it.
Mhm.
They got to work like I had to work.
Mhm.
Or I'm not going to leave my husband anything so he could be with somebody else. And I just think those are it just comes from a different mindset, again, of a scarcity place rather than, you know, my husband and I have had a great life, and I hope we continue to have a great life. And he loves me enough to want to make sure if he's taking care of me now, he wants me to be taking care of him when he's not here,
Mhm.
and vice versa. I don't want my niece and nephew to have to start over like I had to start over. I want them to start with something. And
Mhm.
I think because other communities have generationally experienced that,
Mhm.
that's why they're, hey, as soon as you get married or as soon as you turn 18, you get
Mhm.
this life insurance policy,
Wow.
right?
Mhm. Woo. Okay. That was a lot, and that was very deep. And we've got folks here, so I do want to just say thank you to you guys, and kind of see post a few things that are coming up here. So this was from earlier. As D Isaac, she's here and says, "Yeah, we're looking good." So thank you so
Thank
much, D.
you.
Glad that you're here. And I think you said you had to run out, but you're going to chime back in. So thank you. And we've got a couple Facebook users, like I mentioned earlier, but you may not have been here. If you'd like, and you don't have to, but if you'd like for us to see your name, you can actually press the button at the top of it to allow StreamYard to show me your name. And so I see some good afternoons and hellos, and a couple people: Tanisha Thompson Jackson, Dorinda Ballard. Thank you guys for joining us. There's a true, but I'm not sure what that went to, so I apologize for that. And this, I don't know which part of your conversation, but she hears that all the time, and it's so sad. And it may be about the, every generation getting it or starting from the scratch, get it on your own, that kind of thinking. And the thing that came to mind as you were speaking, which is from a totally different conversation interview that I had, was the um, the founder of North Carolina Mutual Insurance Company
Mhm.
was a barber
Mhm.
and started the company, which was one of the first insurance companies in the country that would actually provide policies for Black people to be buried.
Absolutely.
Prior to that, and that was the early 1900s. I don't know the date offhand, but I think he passed in 1921, if I'm not mistaken.
Mhm.
So it was early 1900s when he kind of started the insurance company. And prior to that, there was no insurance available for us. And so when I'm thinking about, we're talking about mindset and that type of thing, it's like that, those are some of the seeds of where it comes from. It's like we had no idea how we were going to bury our loved ones, take care of the expenses and all of those kind of things. And there were some, a lot of subpar type of situations that were available to us until that time. And then, it's like something is available. And so it's like, okay, let's just take care of getting our loved one buried. Now we have insurance. And now we can, this is, 100 years later or so, we have other options, and we haven't had the benefit of this generational, experience, and this generational, this is how you do it.
Right.
And so we really need to start to open our minds that, what our parents who worked really hard, our grandparents who worked really hard, what they gave us in terms of all the lessons you were sharing was so valuable, but there were some things they didn't know.
Right. And as you talk about that, Mickey, and I don't want to forget this, not only did we not have access to it, when we gained access to it, it was only for one type of life insurance,
Mm,
right?
mm,
There was a time when term life insurance was illegal for people of color. And
mm,
so, because there was a lack of knowledge, people perish. We know that,
mm,
and so even when you offer something that's better, because we weren't exposed to it for such a long time,
mhm,
it's actually illegal when we offer, what could be a better product or a better option for people, because with term, you can get more coverage for less amount of money, right? And so instead of paying more money for less coverage, you get to pay less money for more coverage, right? But because it's for a specific amount of time, people revert back to what they know and what they've been taught.
mhm,
And my argument is, why would you want to pay something your whole entire life versus for a specific amount of time until you do build that wealth and have those assets and become self insured
right.
versus you're paying something your whole entire life, but it doesn't change, right? It doesn't grow. And so I think that there are a lot of lessons to learn from our history of what we did not know and what is now available.
Mm. Whew, yes. So we got some education going on here. So it's like I appreciate that. And so I would, encourage you to, meet with Pam, meet with someone who is, licensed, who is compassionate, I guess you could say, about, what are the options.
Right.
Sometimes we go in and it's like, oh, well, I just want a such and such, even in the salon, it's like, well, I just want a shampoo style, but it's like, okay, but you're telling me at the same time your hair is dry, it's flaking, it's this, it's that. It's like, let me make some professional recommendations and then you can decide what's going to be the best option for you.
That's good, Mickey, right there. That's good.
Yeah, go in open and oh, okay. Let me just see if I can put this up here now. Sorry, she just landed. Okay, we appreciate you watching on the plane.
Yes, girl, we appreciate you.
But she was saying she hears all the time from people saying
Mm,
they aren't leaving their children, spouses, etc., anything when they transition. Yeah, yeah, it's definitely a way that we think. Many of us, not all of us, of course, but
right.
definitely a way that we think. And so, but a lot of it is exposure.
Mhm.
It's like you say, we haven't necessarily been exposed to what options there are. It's like kind of going to a buffet for the first time. It's like, oh my god, where do I start?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so I think that's really good. And it's like we talked about the key man insurance. It's like I
Mhm.
think we're gonna talk about that next. But as business owners, in particular, it's for business owners. Tell us what that is. It's like I read a book years ago, and it was written by someone who was in insurance, even though it was a basic business book or sales book, and it was mentioned a couple different times, and I'm like, what is that? How does that work? And I can say I probably still don't know. I know a teensy bit more, but not very much. So tell us, what is it and how does it work and why would we want to consider having it?
So, well, the term is key man. And so it is the individual or person that if you lost that person, it would be detrimental to your business. So it could be the owner of the salon, or it could be your general manager. So, by definition, the key man is the individual that if something happened to that individual, it would be detrimental to your business. And for entrepreneurs, that person could be you. I did get a call yesterday and, somebody was asking, she was like, can I do this? And I was like, absolutely. If that person is your right hand man or woman and that person passes away, that's detrimental to the success of your business. So it's the same rules. Life insurance is based on health and age.
Mhm.
So we prefer that you get it while you're young and healthy, right? Because, like my husband likes to say, when you get over a certain age, that check engine light comes on. It flashes. Sometimes it flashes and then it goes off. That's your oil change, right? It goes off. This thing stays on sometimes, and you wanna go ahead and invest in yourself, invest in your business while you're young and healthy. And so the key man policy, in essence, if God forbid something happens to a salon owner and you have five people in there that are renting booths from you, or you own a salon suite, let's think big. You own one of those new fabulous salon suites and you're renting them out. Well, if something happens to the owner, what's going to happen to those staff? So
Mhm.
as the owner of the salon, you can have a policy that your business owns.
Mhm.
And so in the it premature passing, or God calls us home, the business then owns that policy and the proceeds will go to the business. So the business can continue to succeed. And or the person who takes over the business now has the funds to continue the business, expand the business, and therefore expanding and continuing your legacy.
Mhm. Yeah, that's pretty powerful. And there was another aspect of it that was mentioned in this book, and I don't know if it's something you really go into, but where say all of those things are kind of in place. It's like you're kind of in that self-insured area. It's like you've got business protection in various different ways. And it was to look at charities that were close to your heart, that you can set it up so that those will continue to be funded. Like if you're making a donation or contribution on a monthly basis, that after you pass away, that it will continue to be made.
For sure. So that would be the beneficiary. So
Okay.
um, as a business owner, if I decide I wanted some proceeds to go to North Carolina Central University,
Hmm.
that would be in the policy, so you
Okay.
could say 50-50. You could do, maybe 80% will go to the business and then 20% will go to that charity. So you can name any beneficiary for any
Mm.
policy, and
Okay.
we call those endowments, right? So a lot of HBCUs are now becoming aware that you can leave uh, your beneficiary. You can leave the proceeds as a beneficiary to an institution,
Beautiful.
right? So
Mm.
um, there are instances where people are in good health and, maybe other family has passed on. You can go in and change your beneficiaries to an organization or a
Mm.
foundation or institution where when you pass away, that will benefit uh, that organization.
Yeah, that's beautiful, especially with HBCUs. I know a lot of them need funds, and it's like a lot of us are making more than we used to make, and that would be a beautiful thing to, be able to have that as part of your legacy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know if anybody watching, if you guys have any questions or anything as far as the key man insurance, as far as life insurance. I saw that let's see, I don't know your name, but it's like that would be me. I'm the key component of my salon. And yes, it's
Right.
like that's exactly what it's for, to make sure that the business can keep going beyond you.
And another aspect of that, Mickey, is you don't have to mix your business and your family finances, right? You talk a lot about that. And that rang heavy in my ear when we had the brunch, how you were saying, a lot of business people don't have business accounts when they first start. Well, when you first start, you may have that policy on you for your family, right?
Mhm.
Well, that's to take care of your family, that's to take care of your mortgage and any personal debt. Well, the key man policy can also be used for any business debt. So any loans, any funding,
Mm.
you're in in the project of constructing a new salon or whatever your business is, those proceeds are can be designated for the business. So your family does not have to worry about how they're going to keep your business going,
Mhm.
and use the proceeds from what was left for the family.
Right. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that is a good designation. And a lot of times I think if we touch on life insurance, it's like if you have, I guess, tell us when it's really best. I know when you have people who are depending on your income is one of the main criteria. So
Mhm.
tell us a little bit more as far as what we should be looking at. Some, like you said, are some of us are head of household, and single moms, that type of thing. So what should we be looking
Exactly.
for?
So I think, you need to look at, if today, God forbid, I don't come back home because we look at life as though I have time, I have time, I have time. And so you wanna make sure that you're looking at, is my house paid off? A lot of people are buying houses, right? Well, does your insurance policy cover the paying off of your house? I mean, we work so hard to get a home,
Hmm.
and that's usually the biggest or largest asset someone purchases in a lifetime.
Right.
So you want to make sure that your insurance policy covers the paying off of your house, right? Because that is an asset that you then can leave for your children. Paying the house, paying on the house isn't an asset, but you have enough life insurance to leave your children to pay off the house, then it becomes an asset. Then they can decide, if they keep it, if they sell it,
Mm.
and some of that is directed in wills and trusts, which we'll talk about tomorrow, uh,
Okay.
about estate planning, right? And so that's something for you to look at. What is your debt? What is your credit card debt? Do you own your car? How much do you want to leave for your children? How old are your children? If
Mm.
you have young children, then you want to think about, okay, if my income is, if I'm making $10,000 a month and this is what my kids are used to, how, God forbid if they're, 5 or 8 or 10,
Mm.
well, that's still 8 more years that you have that they're under your roof or someone has to raise them.
Mhm.
So you want to have your children have the same type of lifestyle that they're accustomed to or better. So you want to make sure that the amount of coverage that you have is going to be enough for those for those remaining years. And then once you make sure that's done, you want to make sure you have enough to pay off the debt, or to be able to pay off the house or the car or anything else. And you know, when I first got in the game, the first thing I did was go to my sister, like, hey, something happens to you, who's gonna raise, the bubbies? That's what I call them, the bubbies.
Mhm.
I mean, the bubbies are now 13 and 14, but I was like, who's gonna raise them, right? And at the time, it would have been my mom, um, and like, but she gonna need some money. So I
Right.
think the fact that we don't realize or think that whoever we leave behind, they're gonna need money to raise their children, And I hear a lot of people saying, "Oh, well, it's inflation and it's tight." Well, if it's tight now and you don't have that income,
Hmm.
it's gonna be tight for that individual that's left raising your children.
Right.
And so I think to really think about those things. We have godparents, we have aunties and uncles, and just asking the conversation. If I'm not here anymore, you need to have somebody designated as the person that's gonna raise your kids.
Hmm.
And in North Carolina, a lot of people don't know that the state will step in if you pass
Hmm.
away, and whoever you left or whoever's taking care of the children, if they're not doing a good job, the state can take them as wards of the state.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so I think, there's a lot that happens, and I know that because of my history in mental health and
Hmm.
working with social services and all of that. And but most people don't know that. And so those are the things I would say to look at in your own personal policy.
Hmm.
Get enough coverage, right? I try to start people at $250,000, right? Because you want enough to pay off your house and you want enough left over for your children. Are
Hmm.
your children going to college? Are your children going to get married one day? Do you want your children to have a house like that's outside of your house? And so I think those are the things that other communities look at and
Hmm.
are prepared for, and we're not.
Right. Right. Yeah. Really, really good points, because they're important things, and it's like we don't really think about any of those things. Like we're like, oh, congratulations, you're expecting, you had a baby. It's like we have the showers and all the fun stuff, but it's like, what if God forbid something happens and someone else has to take care of your kids? And definitely don't want them going as wards of the state. And you know that's kind of the unthinkable, I think, with that. But having those things in place and having those conversations, and like you were sharing, with you and your husband, when you got together, you didn't really have those conversations. And so I think it's important that we start to like look at what is important.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is really good. So thank you for this.
You're welcome.
And if we if you guys have any questions or anything, we appreciate you being here. But if you have any questions, this is a great time to throw them in the comments, and we can get Pam's feedback and be able to further these conversations. And if you're watching, please, like she said, take your own situation into um, consideration, and start to think of like, oh, well, who do I need to talk to, and what kind of conversations do I need to have? Because that's one of the challenges, particularly in our community, is that we don't have the conversations.
we're not having a conversation, right?
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think it's important that we're talking about it, and I appreciate you. Um, I appreciate you wanting me and inviting me to talk about it,
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
we talk about everything else. So let's just be real. As girlfriends,
Okay.
as women, you know, in a salon, we talk. We talk
Right.
about these
Right.
things. We have conversations. I know when we were preparing, and you were saying how you all play multiple roles in terms of counselors and just listening,
Hmm.
offering advice. And mom always the one like, why are we not talking about money, y'all?
Right.
Like, that's what we're all working for. We're
Hmm.
all striving to get better, but we're not having no conversations. And you know, my friends are just used to me, and I'm like, oh my god, like, do y'all have a policy? Like, do y'all have a 401k? Like, yeah, we talking about going on these trips, but what if something happens while you're on the trip?
Right.
And then we have
Yeah.
parents that have adult kids. And so yeah, they can have a policy, but what if it lapses? And are you okay with knowing that your adult child that has a child doesn't have a policy?
Mm,
Another one that I hear oftentimes is my mama got a policy on me.
mm, mm-hmm.
Let's unpack this, Mickey, because I like what you said about let's unpack it. If your parent has a policy on you, it's probably just enough to cover you. It's
Mm,
probably not enough to replace your income,
mm-hmm.
your lifestyle. If your child is accustomed to jumping on the plane with you, grandma, glammy, nana, all of them may not have the money to put them on the plane. And so, I really think we have to, I love Beyonce. Let me just throw this out there. I love Beyonce.
Yes, let's do this.
She is fabulous in
Mhm.
all her glory. She deserves it. She is a hard worker. She is a businesswoman.
Yes.
Now, I would be very surprised if we hear something in the news about her not having things together. One, she's a
Mhm.
Virgo, so I know she got together because I'm a Virgo. She has a team of people. And
Mhm.
so, as many people that paid money to go see her, I would be interested to know how many of those got a life insurance policy.
Preach.
Oh, if you're comfortable enough knowing that, okay, my mama got a policy on me. Well, my mama had a policy on me too. And my father passed away when I was 43 years old. My mama had that policy since I was a kid.
Mm.
And in that cash value, because people think that these whole life policies build cash value, in that policy, it was $2,500.
Mm.
Over 30 years?
Yeah, and that's not gonna get even your pinky toe buried,
That's not.
from what I know.
Much less. Sorry, I had a call coming in. Mickey, where'd you go?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know what the going rates are now, but I know it's more than 2,500.
Right. And so let's just not even talk about the funeral, right? Let's talk about after.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was grown, but what if your child isn't grown? They
Mm-hmm.
still have to go to school. They still need school supplies. They need lunch money. They need all of those things that they need to be driven around to all of the sports and curricular activities that you have them in.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
And so, I just think because people don't want to talk about it, that they're okay knowing that mama got a policy on me. Have you ever seen that policy? Do you even know if the policy is current? Like how much
Right.
money is it, how much money is your mama gonna get? God forbid 20,000. Is that gonna take care of you? And I'm just I just want us to think and just talk more about it, not just assume like when I have clients that get policies on their adult children, I'm like, you need 100,000.
Mm.
They're like, why I need that much? Because hopefully one day your child can take it over. And God forbid if something happens, you know, they
Mm.
have children and you want to make sure that you can take care of your grandchildren. So,
Mm.
I think that there's a lot that we can talk about in the salon.
Yeah. Very, very, very true. Yeah. So we want to know how to contact you. I'm going to put this up on the scroll here. So tell us what's the best way to reach you.
Okay, well, I'm on IG at Cash Coach Pam.
Mm-hmm.
Cash Coach Pam. You can do a DM. You can message me on Facebook at Pam Snipes, Snipes Bradford. And I can give you my phone number. It's 919.
Okay. Give me 1 second. I'm typing as you're talking. So, okay. 919
949
949
8884.
8884.
And just text me first because I got an iPhone.
8884.
8884.
Okay.
Text me first because I have an iPhone and they silence anybody's number that's not in your contact.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Text and say, "I am you were on Mickey's podcast."
Okay. There we go.
Oh
So
yeah.
everybody can see your information. And we had a great comment that I want to go back to. I don't want to throw you off, but thank you, Nala. if that's how you pronounce it. But Nala Nala, it's pretty.
It
Um,
is. Ooh, I
but
love
you have
her
Pam's contact
frames
info.
too.
What'd you say?
So I love her frames and her pictures.
Oh yeah. So this comment came up, and I don't know who it's from, but I think it's awesome. So we need to give insurance policies as birthday and baby shower gifts, creating wealth. That is a beautiful sentiment.
That is a beautiful sentiment.
Yeah, and probably one of the most useful. I won't say diapers and bottles aren't useful because you're gonna need those, but
Absolutely, absolutely. And as investments, I think we don't talk about that either. There are several kinds of investments that we could offer for birthdays and baby showers. I think, and this is real interesting. We were at a convention in Atlanta and we met this Caucasian young guy, just graduated from college, and just talking to him. I'm a recruiter, so I'm always trying to recruit people. And so he had mentioned that his mother was a VP of a bank. And
Mhm.
he said, I never got birthday gifts. I always got stock,
Mm.
or she always put money in my investment account,
Mm. Okay.
you know. And so I think we have these elaborate birthday parties. Y'all know
Mm.
what I'm talking
We're
about.
getting more and more.
Now, y'all know who I'm talking about. Now, for that 1-year-old baby, don't need a bounce house, don't need all of that stuff on the first birthday. They're not even going to remember, y'all. And that's more for the adults, that's more for us. And
Mhm.
so, to be able to gift a 529 or contribute to a
Mhm.
529,
Mhm.
or say, hey, this my baby has an investment account. Give into the investment account and let's do the birthdays, because when they start getting 15 and 16, when they want a car, you can use that money to buy them a car.
Mhm.
And so, I just want us to think differently, because other communities think differently. And I was like, when he said he never got a birthday gift, he always got stuff. I was like, wow, that's deep.
It is. It is. Yeah. Tell us the 529. We got all these numbers and letters and initials and all that kind of stuff.
I'm
So
sorry,
tell
Mika.
us the 529. What is that?
Well, that's what it's called. So 529 is a college savings plan.
Okay. Okay.
And not all states have them, but if you know someone like me or you already have a financial advisor, they will be able to help you find one.
Mhm.
And you can put money into a 529 account.
Mhm.
It is for college or a technical school. Right now, they have the new law said that if you have a student loan, you can apply 529 to your student loan to pay it off.
Okay.
You can also use 529 for any qualifying educational expense. So whether it be tuition or room and board. So give you just a little bit of nugget. If you have an investment property
Yeah.
and your niece or nephew or your child goes to college, wherever that investment property is, you can use money from the 529 to pay for the rent.
Mm. Okay. Got it.
And so, that's kind of keeping the money
Mhm.
circulating, right? Because, everybody wants to buy real estate, but this is a benefit of having real estate and saving. And also with a 529, if let's say your oldest has the account, they decide not to go to college, get a full ride, go to the military, you
Mhm.
can change beneficiaries. And so the
Mm.
next child can then benefit from it.
Okay.
I know our time is winding up, and I think you did want to talk about another acronym that I use all the
Yep.
time. So I'll just go into that real quick.
Yeah, I'll just set it up just a little bit, and I know I'm probably late to the game here, but one of the things is that I have a course that's called the Luxury Business Blueprint, and I have people who graduate whose income significantly increases because they start moving into premium pricing where they're actually doing fewer clients and making more money, and the money that they're making typically will cover well more than what they actually need to live on. And one of the things that I've seen through the years, myself included, is like you start making more money, you start spending more money. And so I want to have some direction for us
Okay.
to start looking at what we're doing with this money and where we can best utilize it. So this, I think, will help some people who may be watching who may be like, okay, I just didn't know what to do with it other than go to brunch, take a trip, buy
Buy
some
a
food.
bag
Yep.
and some shoes. Okay, and
Right.
you can do all of that. We're not saying
Right.
don't do all of that because I
Right.
love that too.
Right.
Um, but we also want to make sure that we are one. It can help you as a tax shelter, and it's called a SEP, Simplified Employee Plan, and it's a retirement vehicle that if you're in business, your business owns the IRA. It's in the business name, and so you can put money in there for your retirement. Most salon stylists, barbers, that's a cash business. And so money comes quickly and it probably leaves quickly, right? And so you can put this money into your SEP IRA, and it gives you a greater allowance than a Roth. I do think people should have a Roth, which is a individual retirement account. A SEP is for business. If you are a 1099 and you don't have any employees, even if you have people that work in your organization that are 1099, you can still open up a SEP IRA. And the allowance is you can put up to 25% of your adjusted gross income into a SEP IRA. And so what that allows is, let's say we're going to use small numbers because I know you got big ballers out there viewing us, Miki. So if let's just say for simplicity, you make 100,000. Well, if you put up to 25% of your adjusted gross income, that could be about like 25,000. And so that's a greater allowance, which means you're not paying taxes on that 25. You're only paying taxes on the 75. So not only is it a tax shelter, it is also a way for you to put up money for your retirement.
Is anybody like what? Because that is definitely really a great thing. And Alana, thank you for sharing this. Like she said, she's so guilty of spending more money when she makes more money. You are not alone.
Girl, you are not alone.
We appreciate you sharing that because it's definitely very common, and a lot of times it's just because we don't really know what to do with it. We weren't that, what do you call VP of the bank uh
Right.
child, where it's like
Yeah.
someone was putting stock away for us for our birthday. It's like, okay. That's a whole nother ball game. So oh, okay. Oh, okay. Now let's yeah, it's perfect alignment, tuned right in on time. And I did see your thank you to us. Thank
Oh,
you.
thank you. Thank you. Yes, you're welcome for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I think we've at least poured out some things, some ideas. It's like you've got Pam's information going across the bottom, so definitely grab that up. She's at IG on Instagram at Cash Coach Pam, and you can text her at 919-949-8884, and be able to have a one-on-one, get some advice as far as what's going to fit your particular situation. But I just think when we think about self-care, that these things that we've been talking about, these are ways that we can really take care of ourselves, and it doesn't have to be one or the other. Like Pam was saying, it's like we like our nice goodies. So it's like you can have those things, but also have an eye out for the things that in a sense really matter. Because how many of you guys have gone into your closet and seen some stuff and you're like, why did I buy that? Or it still has a tag on it, and you never even wore it. And so these are where some of our money's going. And if we just took that little portion of that money and put it towards something that would be growing for us, it would be life changing, game changing.
Absolutely. And I'll give you a quick example. And then I have a plug for an event we're doing tomorrow. I had a client that just started with $250 a month in 2019. In 2013, they now have over $11,000.
Okay, say those numbers again.
They started with $250 a month
Uh-huh.
in 2019.
Okay.
All right. In 2023, they now have over $11,000 saved.
Wow.
So I would just say, we think it has to be a large amount of money, and it doesn't. It could be less than that.
Hmm.
I can start anybody, less than that, whatever your budget allows, whatever you feel like you can afford.
Hmm.
But we don't keep, just don't keep waiting, right? Time is the one thing that we can't get back. And I'm 52. If I'd have known this in my 20s and my 30s, I'd really be balling and shot calling by now. I'd be millionaires or billionaires, right? And so when we learn the information, I want us to be able to capitalize on it so that time doesn't catch up with us and we're looking up in our late 40s or our 40s and our 50s and we're like, we can see the finish line. But if we'd have known earlier, so if I could have just implore you to just start, right? It doesn't have to be 1,000, it doesn't have to be 10. My goal is to help my family, my sisters, my people to build up, to have an emergency fund. Then we can go to other different type of accounts. And then the second thing is I will be doing a webinar tomorrow on wills, trust, and estate planning. So I
Hmm.
appreciate not to it's today Tuesday. Yeah, today Tuesday.
Yep, tomorrow.
I appreciate Miki for the platform, for the opportunity. And if you do follow me on IG or Facebook, you'll see the flyer for tomorrow. Uh, it is for the Durham Alumni Chapter of North Carolina Central University. We are
Mm.
starting our fall financial series for financial workshops, and we'll continue it in 2024. But I just think wills, trust, and estate planning, it's just we just got to get into that mindset and have a greater understanding of what those things will allow us to do.
Right, right. It is a mindset shift, that we start to, like you say, have more of these conversations and, share this with, someone that love, like, have as a colleague, friend, family, so that you can start to have these conversations and just, pause it and say, it's like, okay, well, what about this part? And who do we need to find out, or how do we need to find out more about some of these things? Because sometimes we hear something but it just kind of goes right over our head.
Mhm.
And you were sharing, when we know better we do better, Maya Angelou's favorite quote. But I said I'm going to do something, coming up soon on do we.
Mm.
Sometimes we learn things and we do know that we could do better, but we don't do them.
Right.
And, I'm big on mindset and how those internal things have to shift before we can actually really take the steps that we need to do it. So this is a good segue. And tell me what it is. It's insurance month.
It's for wills,
No,
trust.
not tomorrow. Not
Oh,
tomorrow. A month. You said it's the month for life insurance or
oh, yes. September is Life Insurance Awareness Month. So, um,
something. Okay.
we just been really trying to make sure that we get the word out. If you just have a question, just call me. My goal is to help everybody, and if I don't know, I'll find out, right? So I don't have all the answers, but I'll do my best to make sure that if you have a question. So September is Life Insurance Awareness Month, and October is really what she was saying is estate of planning,
Estate
estate
planning.
month next month,
Nice.
right? So
Okay.
October is going to be a lot. Yeah. So we're gonna be talking about it. We're gonna continue the conversation. So it was a good thing for us to end September and start October. And we just want to talk about succession. We want to talk about legacy and inheritance and
Mhm.
abundance and you
Right.
know, leave scarcity and lack behind.
Absolutely. That's a great place to end it. And we also want to extend, she's going to be on the event tomorrow, but we also want to invite you to Thursday,
Yeah.
where we'll have the Women in Financial Empowerment. Um, what is it, event?
Women in finance. So women in finance, empowerment,
Uh-huh.
entrepreneurship.
Yeah, it's like we'll have an excellent time. It's like, and we'll really be diving into a few of these things. And we've got three other members of the
Yes.
group, so we'll
Yes.
have some really dynamic conversations, and
Yes.
everybody just brings such greatness to the conversation. And it's all at this point Black females, and we're trying to empower other Black females as well. It's open to everyone, but wanting to make changes in our community. So we invite you to join us.
For sure.
Yeah, we thank you for attending tonight. It's like I'll leave the information so that you can join. It's absolutely free, by the way, for both events, I believe. Is that
Yes.
right? Yeah, for both events. So we'll leave the information in the comment section. So be sure to grab that so that you can join us. And if you have not already, I invite you to like, comment, and subscribe to Your Pricing Matters on my YouTube channel, which is Miki Wright, just 1K, MikiWright. And I will look forward to seeing you guys next time. Thank you so much. And thank you so much, Pam. This has just been incredible.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Yes. So we'll see you next time. See you on the next episode next week.
All right.
Bye bye.